hear the music, you know what time it is. I am KODX Factor. Welcome to another fantastic episode of the Jump Off. I am your host, and we are all here as part of the Game Night Lounge Media Network. And all the guests that appear on this show are going to be part of the Game Night Lounge Media Network as well. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. No matter what avenue you're listening to us on, your iOS device, your Android device, your PC, you're in the gym working out and you have us talking in your ear, I greatly appreciate it. You're driving to work or driving back home from work, I greatly appreciate you tuning in. So however you may be listening to us, I greatly appreciate it. I just wanted to take a quick moment and wish everybody out there a very happy Halloween. Hope everybody has a great time. If you had already gone out trick-or-treating, we hope everybody stayed safe. Everybody was out there about doing everything the right way. Just everybody staying safe, staying with your kids. If you're out there with your kids, make sure you just keep an eye out. It's a crazy world we're out there living right now. So, I know back when I was a kid, Halloween was just a mere, it was a night that we were like, okay, we're going to go out in the town. We had pillowcases, went out with the pillowcases. We're going to go get some candy. And we used to walk with our friends and just go from neighborhood to neighborhood. We knew what neighborhoods had what type of candy, and we would just kind of disperse out, and we would be out there for a few hours just trick-or-treating around. Nowadays, it's a bit different. You really don't have that kind of a luxury as we had when I was a kid. The world's got a lot more crazy now. People are a lot more out there. Things are just happening left and right. You can't just put your kids out there and say, you guys go have a good time trick-or-treating and just let them go. It's just, the world has just gone completely nuts, and it's just not that same way as it used to be, as it used to be before. So I hope everybody would just remain safe, remain cool this Halloween. Everybody was out there. I hope everybody had got everything that they wanted candy-wise, and you got a chance to dress up as one of your favorite, maybe video game characters. I heard Fortnite was a big thing this year, but I've seen a lot of Black Panthers around, and I've seen a lot of different Avengers around. I've seen a few Spider-Mans as well. I was like, hey, the Spider-Man PS4 game? Oh, no, Spider-Man for the Avengers. Oh, come on, you're ruining it. Come on. So hopefully if you got a chance to go out there as one of your favorite video game characters, make sure you send us that picture on Twitter. I would greatly appreciate it. If you send us enough of them, just send us your pictures, tag us in on them, tag us in on Twitter at Game Night Lounge, tag us in on your Halloween costume, whether it's you, whether it's a couple's costume, no matter what it is, let us know. We'll dig up something to give away as like a top prize for the best costume. So just throwing that out there. Just, let us know, let us see what some of your best costume ideas were for this holiday season, whether it was like a Halloween party you went to, or you decided to dress up when you took your kids out or whoever out for trick-or-treating. We do it all the time, so we're just send us a picture. Let us know what you guys did, and the best video game related costume. We'll dig up something to give away, and it'll be something pretty cool. So just make sure you send us the picture on Twitter. Our handle is at Game Night Lounge, and make sure you follow us as well, because it's all going to be part of the criteria. So just follow us, and then just tweet us a picture and just tag us in on the picture. And then us here will take a look at them. We'll vote on the best one. We'll even get community input, and we'll go from there. And we'll dig up something for you very special. So October is wrapping up, which means our Let's Play Halloween series is going to be wrapping up as well. We got one more that just went up. Halloween special event with the dynamic duo this time. So it wasn't just me playing through one of the games. It was actually the dynamic duo or trio, as some of y'all may have heard in recent months. But we've got another one up there for you. We had a blast with the Halloween Let's Play events. I want to get a little bit more interactive with it. So we want to kind of know more and more what games you want to see as far as horror games goes. Now, next Halloween, we're going to have a lot down the pipeline for horror games. So we're going to have a lot coming that's going to kind of highlight the horror genre that we're actually going to be looking forward to playing. And I know Resident Evil 2, the remake, will be highlighting that, because last year we played the original as part of the Halloween Let's Play series, and we played through the entire original game. And then next year, we're going to have the remake. So we're already getting like stuff lined up for next Halloween already. And Halloween is just now today. Well, if you're listening to us, it might have already passed. But I'm recording this on Halloween Day. I'm here in the office. We got everything kind of all spooky up in here. But we'll be out and about tonight. Talking to some folks, taking the kids out trick-or-treating. We got a couple of fall festivals we're doing as well. So we're just going to have an all-out day and night. But I wanted to get this show in this morning so I can kind of get it out there to some of y'all. Because some of y'all might be having us in your ear as you're walking around at Halloween night. So if you're walking by yourself, hey, that's one thing. But if you're walking around with a group or you got your eyes on kids and you got us in your ears, unplug us for a little while. You can come back to us when you get back home. But just keep an eye on the young ones because they are out and about in droves. But like I said just before, just stay safe if you are listening to us on Halloween night. If you've already passed, I hope everybody stayed safe and just, and made it back home A-OK. Now, there wasn't really a whole lot in gaming news for me to kind of touch on this week, so I figured I'd kind of just go over, just a couple of smaller things here and there. The PlayStation Classic lineup has officially been unveiled. I'm not going to go through every single 20 titles because it had some hits, it had some misses, and it left some games off of the platform that many may be like, okay, it's not worth it for me to get this. We're going to talk about how that entails, or how that looks, and then how that looks for people that actually have still a PlayStation 1 in their possession. And finding some of these games that they already have pre-installed on the system, and whether many will feel it deemed worthy enough to have a system like that, especially at that price point. We're also going to be looking at the Red Dead Redemption 2 had a major first weekend. I think it made $725 million on its first weekend of release. Folks, that's $725 million. That's not 725 million units sold. That's dollars. That's how much it made. So essentially, Red Dead Redemption 2 it actually clocked in as one of the second highest sold entertainment mediums ever released. And so for some of y'all, you got to look at, okay, let's look at this. 725. That's okay. Then we're going to divide that by $60. That means they sold 12 million units of Red Dead Redemption 2 in its first weekend, and that's just doing the quick math of $725 million divided by $60 at a pop, and that's just the average because we know there are some collector's editions out there that are a bit more pricier. You get the $100 one. I think they even have like an ultimate edition that was like $79.99. It just came with some extra downloadable content. But 12 million units sold, roughly 10 to 12 million units sold in its first weekend. That's not even incorporating what the holiday is going to bring for Red Dead. And people are talking about Red Dead Redemption in droves, one of the biggest games of the year, one of the most highly rated games of the year from the critics' standpoint. You look at Metacritic, I want to say it's like 96.7% on Metacritic. But then you look at some of the user reviews and some of the user ratings, it's down there in the 70s. Now look, I understand there's going to be a big differentiator between press and fans. There always is. There never has been like a happy medium between the two. There's never been a time where critics are like one of the best games, one of the best movies of the year, and fans are like, kind of average. They've never been on an even playing field. Never have. And here I think is why. And I'm talking on behalf of actually both sides because I'm a fan on one side and I'm a media critic on the other. Because I do reviews. I have done them in the past. I still do them now. And I have a hand in on both aspects of it. From a critic standpoint, we look at the entire development of that game. The development time, how the game was developed, the team behind it, the passion actually shows within the work. We look at graphics. We look at gameplay mechanics. We look at everything. Extremely detail-oriented. That's what a lot of critics do. The way I do a lot of my reviews is I look at the game just being fun as a whole. Like, is the game fun for me to play? I look at the fun factor of the game, how it was built, the passion behind the project. Graphics are, I won't say they're like high importance on my list. Story, I look at all that stuff and I kind of incorporate it into just like a fun value. And a lot of my scores are based off just sheer fun factor. A lot of critics look at a lot of bullet points for a lot of these games. How well, they look at different variations and they look at, not just the fun factor, but their job is to be nitpicky. They have to tear the game pretty much apart and then build it back up and then give you a concise review on that. So that's the critic standpoint of the game. The fan standpoint of the game is just sheer fun, and do they get what they paid for? In all honesty, and this is to all you critics out there that may be listening to this, the ones that, write for publications or whatnot, a lot of people's opinions on games are going to be based off of those two sheer facts. Fun factor, and are they getting what they were promised with the final product when they pick it up? That's it in a nutshell. Are they getting what they were promised? And and developers have to kind of look at that in that way as well. You got to look at it from the standpoint of the fans. Are you giving to them what you promised you would? And is just simply the game fun? So that's why, let's look at Red Dead Redemption 2, for example. The critics, high praise. I think we even gave it like a 9.5. The game was phenomenal to us. But then the fans, because here's the differentiator, and what a lot of critics don't take into account, is the game, yes, does move at a very, very slow pace. It does. Especially in the beginning. Man, it seems like it kind of drags for a little bit. But then it does finally hook you. But it's the story that it's telling during especially those slow periods. When you're listening to the interaction between the characters, it kind of builds it, for me anyway. But if you're a player, like a game player, and you're going into this game and you're seeing the very, very slow gameplay mechanics of it, you're seeing seeing the slow pace, and some people are just not built for that. Especially if you're used to those very fast-paced, high-octane games. Red Dead Redemption 2 is going to leave a bad taste in your mouth, especially early on. Even for Grand Theft Auto, it had a little bit more of a faster pace than what Red Dead Redemption 2 gave us. But you got to look at it more a little bit beyond that. And that's what the critics did. The fans are not going to be so forgiving for that. They're going to be like, if the game doesn't jump out at them in the very opening couple minutes, it's not going to grab them at all. It's like that for some movies. Let's look at some of these movies. Fans love some of these just brainless movies. Oh my Lord, how many Sharknadoes have they done in the past? And it's just it's like one of those movies that you just love to hate. There's some movies that are just outrageous. Like perfect example. Here we go. Game-wise, it was Red Dead Redemption 2. Movie-wise, it was Venom. A lot of fans liked Venom. They thought it was good. It was really, really high action. The action was great. The acting, by Tom Hardy was actually pretty good. The overall plot was pretty abysmal, but it was the action of the movie that fans liked, and a lot of fans liked it. It was the #1 movie in America for a week or two. But the critics absolutely destroyed it. But how many movies, especially superhero movies, do critics absolutely despise? Or I won't say absolutely despise, but they tear apart or they tear down. But then the fans are like, why? We love the game. It's also a flip side of the coin. There's a lot of movies that have gotten like a critical acclaim, Oscar-nominated movies that I myself had watched and it was like, I don't see what the big draw is. What is the big point? Like, what's the big deal? I didn't like the movie. But everybody's taste is different. And that's something else you got to take into account too. Everybody's taste is different. Everybody's going to have, especially nowadays, social media is such a big thing. Everybody's going to have an opinion. Everybody's going to have something to say about everything. It doesn't matter what you do. Whether it's a game, a movie, whether it's a YouTube channel, whether it's a comment you put on Twitter, no matter what the case, everybody's going to be opinionated. And this day and age, it's very, very easy to be opinionated because now you can do it behind the walls of a Facebook or the walls of a Twitter or Instagram. But when it comes to these game reviews and like going back to Red Dead Redemption, one of the highest rated games of the year, there are still a bit of fans that are not happy with it because of the slow pace of it and how long it actually takes to get to like the meat and bones of the game. And like I said, I will admit, I think we even did like 4 Let's Play videos on the game, which is about 2 hours in length, before we actually really got to the start of where our adventure takes hold. Chapter 2. Once you get past Chapter 1 of Red Dead Redemption, everything else should be fine because you really kind of play at your own pace at that point. People are complaining about the pacing, the way your character walks, because he walks with a really, really slow pace. But look, you're in a Western. It's all built within the setting of the environment that you're playing in. That's the big thing about this game. You're playing within your environment. You're playing within the world that they want you to live in. And sometimes in that time frame, it's not always the most exciting thing. Until you get like to your first train heist, and then the action tends to pick up just a bit from there, which again was at the end of Chapter 1. But Red Dead Redemption 2 is very, very detail-oriented. It's very, very specific on everything that you have to do to make you feel that you're within that world. And I think Rockstar tapped that in the best way it possibly can. That's what she said. And in all honesty, I think that they probably made one of the most expansive open worlds that we have seen this decade, as well as one of the most immersive games that we've seen in quite a while. And the fact that this game sold almost 10 to 12 million units in its first weekend is astounding. And it's just going to go to show that by the end of the holiday, I would not be surprised at all, and I think it's even probably up there right now, as one of the best-selling games of 2018, and it could have the potential to beat Grand Theft Auto in the long haul. And Rockstar does this the absolute best. They're the best at it. At taking their time on developing a game, giving you an experience that you have been waiting for, and living up to whatever hype is built. They did it with GTA 4. They did it again with GTA 5. Red Dead Redemption, the original when it came out, was the exact same way. And then we got Red Dead Redemption 2 many years after the fact. We got a Grand Theft Auto game in between those two. They are notorious for taking their time and getting things right. And to me, I think they got this right, and is labeled as one of the best games of this decade, and it's up there, and it's up there as one of the best-selling games of this year, if not the decade thus far. So that's essentially the reason and my explanation as to why. And the big differentiator between fans and critics is because, yeah, obviously they're going to have those differences, and that's the reason why I see it anyway. And that's coming from both sides of the coin because I've been on both spectrums before. Now, real quick before we close out, there is a couple more things I wanted to touch on. I think Bethesda might have been listening to last week's show because they opened up the beta for longer hours and more gameplay now, so the days are a lot less, fewer in between. So now we got like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday games, Fridays, and the time frames are much longer than they were previously. I think the one even tonight is from like 2 to 11, so I think that's the time slot for, I think the majority of them are probably going to be about from like 2 to 11, which is probably a good sweet spot because you get your afternoon and you get your evening crowds in there to really, really kind of stress the servers out to find out the best, the best time frames and stuff like that. And apparently when the beta opened up to everybody, the game was having a lot of technical glitches, a lot of glitches that we didn't experience on our first go round with the private beta, and a lot of I won't say game breaking, but they were glitches that would force people to reinstall the beta. And I've had a few buddies of mine that had to go through that process of re-downloading or deleting and then re-downloading the beta in entirety. Which, if you look at the file size, these betas are not quick downloads. I mean, you're talking about at least a couple hours that, essentially you're being taken away from gameplay. And this is the reason why Bethesda decided to extend a lot of its times and dates, is because of errors like this, which, yes, they have to get fixed before the game launches. And I was reading comments from fans, saying, I'm canceling my pre-order now, or I'm canceling this, I'm canceling that. I cannot believe this is going on. Come on, Bethesda, get your stuff together. Look, you guys have got to understand one thing. This is a beta, and it's a public invitation beta, which means they want everybody to get a chance to play it early. You should count your blessings and say, thank you for letting me try the game early before the game comes out. One, to find out if you're even going to like it to begin with. And then two, to make sure that you're part of the crew of people that is going to get this game right before it launches. And that's essentially, as every time a beta comes out, people should feel that way. You don't get upset because of the beta. Now, if the beta, when you play the beta and you don't like the way it's being played, you don't like the gameplay of it at all, that's one thing. Just to say that you don't like the game because of how it plays or what it plays like or anything like that, that's one thing. You don't like the game. But to get mad because some of the glitches that happen in it, look, that's the whole point of the beta, is to get those things fixed. So that way when you get the product that you paid for, it won't have those issues. Because think, would you be more upset that you couldn't play the beta for a few hours when it began? Or would you be more upset if you couldn't play the actual game that you paid money for the night that you got the game? I mean, think about it. So for all you people out there that get upset because of the technical stuff that's happening inside the beta and the stuff that's crashing the game and stuff like that, and you get upset about it and you're like, oh, I'm canceling my pre-order because of this, there's no saving you. And I'm not even going to try to do it. Please cancel your game. We don't want you in it. If I was a developer, I would say that. If you get that upset because of something like that, bye. throw up the deuces. You don't even deserve to play it to begin with. And that goes for any game for that matter. A beta is just that. It's a beta. You're testing it to make sure that the game is going to operate the way it's intended to by the launch date. That's all a beta is. A beta is not like, some people look at a beta as, okay, I get to play my game that I paid for just a little bit early. No, that's not what it is. Yeah, you get to play the game early before anybody else does, but you're the basic goal and a premise for any beta is to test these servers, test how the game functions, because quite honestly, you can do game testing all day long with the testers you have in your studio. All they do is search for bugs. And you're still never going to find all the bugs that your fans that are playing the game are going to eventually find. So that's why these betas happen. They want you to find these game-breaking bugs. They want you to find these things that are not supposed to happen when the actual game comes out. So that way they can get them fixed and patched before the game actually ships. That's the whole point of it. So stop getting upset. Stop with the Hasidity attitude that a lot of gamers today have, that they feel that everything should function 100%, no matter if it's a beta or a game preview or a game release. And game previews are the same exact way. If it's a early access game, Ark did this, PUBG did this. There's a number of games that did this. DayZ's doing it now, that will launch their game because it's in a well enough state that they can launch it and get players to play it. And they will launch their game in game preview mode. It'll be cheaper than it will be when the game actually launches, because Ark launched at $60. PUBG opened up at $60 after it finished out its preview build. And I'm sure that like DayZ and stuff like that are going to release at $60 price tag as well. So you get the game for a much cheaper price point. Ark, I want to say was like $20. PUBG was like $20 or $30, and DayZ was $30. These games are in preview builds. So essentially, the entire time that you're playing this game, it's going to have bugs. And you're basically there to help them finish the development of this game. So a game preview is essentially a game that is, the development of the game is pretty much done, but it needs your gameplay and your input to be able to kind of find those game-breaking bugs so they can get them fixed more extensively than like a beta is going to do. And a lot of the times, these extend out to a lot of multiplayer-only games like DayZ, like PUBG, and Ark. These games are online multiplayer games only, and the only way you're going to really find these is you're going to have people just play it nonstop. And you're going to have them play it extensively, which is why they release these games in preview build. So whatever money they get from the price of the preview build, they are going to put towards the bugs and the fixes and the maintenance of these games until they can actually get it out of preview and into a full game release. So now, some people have a right to be upset about a game, like don't launch a game if it's not ready. Don't charge for a game if it's not ready. But you have to come into the understanding, if a game is in preview, or it says it's launching in preview, you know the game's not finished. And you're going to be essentially buying into a part of the maintenance of this game. So the stuff that you experience is going to be stuff that's going to have to take time to fix. And sometimes it may take a year, sometimes longer. But a majority of the games that launch in preview build are usually done within a year. PUBG launched in a year. Ark launched, I think Ark was like 2 years in preview. And DayZ, I mean, it's only been a few months in preview. So you have to understand that, is that you're buying into almost essentially a beta look for it. You're not buying a fully priced game at this point. You're buying the right to help build and get this game to where it's supposed to be, the way the developers want this game to be. So yeah, you may have a case for being upset with the preview builds, but you really can't be all that upset, just because of the fact that you know what you're getting when you get a preview game or you get a preview build of a game. You already know what you're going to get. It's going to be buggy. You're going to get frustrated. There's going to have times that you're going to be dropped from the games, server maintenance and stuff like that, frequent server maintenances. You're just going to have to come to the realization that that's going to be part of it until the game launches at a full price. And then at that, you're not even charged the remaining balance or full price. You get to keep the game for whatever you paid for it initially, which is the best thing for it. So you have to kind of take your wins and your losses with this, and I think that's probably the best way to look at it. But just to get mad at a beta, it's just insane to me. There's no reason to get mad at the beta. The beta doesn't function the way you're supposed to. Yeah, that's the whole point. It's not supposed to function the way it's supposed to. They're trying to fix it so that way it does function the way it's supposed to when it actually launches. So if you're one of those that's getting mad at Bethesda for this, please stop playing. Don't pick the game up. Just find something else, because obviously you're going to be one of those you're just never going to make happy. and you're not going to sit there and try to make the developers' lives absolutely insane because you're not all smiles. Tough. Suck it up. Anyway, that's going to do it for us. I thank you guys so much for listening. I am KODX Factor. You make sure you follow us on our Twitter account. We are at Game Night Lounge, and our Facebook page, we are at the Game Night Lounge as well. You can follow our RSS feed we're on iTunes Store, we are in Google Play, we're on TuneIn, any other podcast avenue that you may be listening to us in, podbean.com, as well as a number of others. You can also follow our website at www.GameNightLounge.wordpress.com. All of our stories and our videos and our podcasts, everything goes up to that central hub. And you can also visit our YouTube channel. Our channel is The Game Night Lounge. All of our Let's Play videos, all of our reviews, all of our podcasts are there in video form. Now, I mean, you're not going to actually see me, but you'll be able to listen to this podcast on YouTube. So just make sure you do that. I am your host, KODX Factor. This is the Jump Off. Thank you guys so much for listening. Hope everybody has a great, fantastic Halloween and holiday season. We are getting ready to go into November, and we are looking forward to it because Christmas is coming up really, really soon, and we have a few games to get to before Christmas actually happens. So we're kind of looking forward to what's coming down the pipeline. So, until next time, I'm KODX Factor. This is The Jump Off. All the guests that appear on this show and future shows are part of the Game Night Lounge Media Network as well. And until next time, game on.